Hello, my name is David Kronick. I've been living here in Romania for the past 22 years, part of the PCF Romania projects in Galați. Here in Galați, we work with a local organization called Word Made Flesh, building relationships with children and families and vulnerable peoples. When we began in the mid-90s, Romania was still living under the fall of communism. Hundreds of thousands of children had been left in orphanages. They were starting to come out onto the streets. We saw hundreds of thousands of children come out onto the streets. Here in Galați, there were hundreds of kids living on the streets and under the streets, where they were going to live in the drainage systems for shelter and warmth. We also spent a lot of time in a hospital where over 45 children had been abandoned with HIV. While we didn't have solutions to all of these problems, we began by building relationships. We would spend most of our time with the kids on the streets, just kicking a football around. When we had money, we'd buy sandwiches and eat on the curbside, or we'd even go down into the sewage systems to meet with the children. We felt that most of our activities were purely for prevention, like we were putting a plaster on a bleeding wound. But we saw the need for a more structural response, so we began partnering with local organizations and churches to build children's homes. In the course of a few years, we saw hundreds of children move off of the streets into homes. We saw all of the children that had been abandoned in the hospital integrated into foster families and group homes. But we still saw children coming out onto the streets. This is when we started drop-in centers and day centers to help the children that started to come out onto the streets stay in their families, to stay off of drugs, to prevent the exploitation that they were suffering, and to start to integrate, and even some of them start for the first time to go to school. We saw that a major cause of the poverty that the children and their families were suffering from was the lack of community. And so we began to build community, to form networks of donors and volunteers, of churches and organizations, working with the local government and local schools, and even partnering with people around the world. Today, we still see children and families suffering. The school dropout rate in Romania is close to 20%. That's 1 in 5 children that are no longer attending school. Half of all the children in Romania, that is from age 0 to 18, are at risk of poverty and social exclusion. Romania has the highest poverty rate in all of Europe. All of this has caused a mass exodus of the working class, where our working people, where our educated people are moving to Western Europe, America, and other locations to find better jobs and they think better futures for their own children. That's having an enormous impact on the children and families amongst whom we're serving. For example, as we've seen thousands and thousands of teachers leave Romania, it's left a huge hole in the education system. We've seen thousands and thousands of our healthcare workers leave, and it's left children and families, especially the poor, vulnerable to infections. We continue to see high rates of human trafficking for sex and for work. There are high rates of domestic violence, and there are high rates of child abandonment, as many parents are leaving their children behind as they go to find jobs in the West. This situation seems daunting, but it's precisely in this context that we feel called to share the gospel. As we've grown over the years, we've tried to see this vision of the good news of God as a guiding point for our activities. Today, most of our activities happen here at the Valley Community Center, where over 45 children come on a daily basis, and in the Tudor Vladimirescu Center, where over 15 children come on a daily basis. At our centers, we sense that our first purpose is to create a safe place for the children and for their families, a place in which we can develop stable, long-term, invested relationships, a place where we can model healthy living. We want to offer the children and their families new horizons for imagining their future. And we do this through education and play, counseling, computer activities, sharing meals, working in the garden together and in our new greenhouse together, doing art activities, and of course our big event in the summer, which is summer camp. Besides just our daily activities at our centers, we're also doing weekly meetings with young mothers and infants. We have monthly activities with parents where we're trying to help them to learn new skills on how to raise their children, how to be involved in the children's lives. We're actually visiting the children's homes on a monthly basis and connecting with their school teachers, connecting with local church leaders.
Sama joc cu copiii, fac teme și cam am joc cu copiii. I like to do art. Fiindcă aici e frumos și mă învață să scriu, să citesc. Happiness, goodness, prietenie și ajutor și fapte bune.
It's our privilege to be able to be involved in the lives of these children who are amazing and resilient and who teach us so much. But we know that we're only a part of the response and a part of what is helping them to have a better future. And so we thank you for having a heart for us, for supporting us, for praying for us, for being involved in the lives of the children and their families from such a distance. So thank you.